Welcome to Unbiased and On the Fence. I'm Shane. Thank you so much for joining. Well, I've got some catching up to do. On a previous broadcast, I showed how Crystal sent me some residue for JCPenney, and I can find it here. And I was showing the JCPenney, but Dilemma, a viewer, pointed out that, hey, did you notice the Revlon emblem, the Revlon residue in the JCPenney residue that you showed? And I didn't, but here it is. You can see the L and the O are not connected as they appear to have always been now. There's several versions of the Revlon logo, but the one with all caps like this always has the L and the O sort of connected, and like the L continues on and swoops around. But this is how, at least I remember it being grown up, with the L and the O, just separate letters like this. There's a version of Revlon with a capital R and then the rest are lowercase. There's a script version, sort of a in cursive version, and then there was this one that apparently doesn't exist anymore, but here we see it in an ad, and we can see down here they weren't just typing it up because we have this logo as it is now for Jean Two cologne or fragrance. So I thought that was interesting, and good eye, Dilemma, for seeing that. So the next one I wanted to point out, Beverly left a comment about Nestle having an S at the end, and I thought it sounded familiar, but I wasn't really sure. But then when I came across, somebody left a link to this 80s commercial, and I was blown away because I remembered the song, I remembered the commercial, and I can tell the differences. The logo doesn't have the S at the end anymore, but it used to. But take a listen to this. So there we have it. It's got the S in the spelling, but not in the logo anymore. And also where he sings Nestle makes the very best, he doesn't say Nestle's anymore, but I also found this live version. This is Faith No More singing it. But listen, in the live version, he actually has the S at the end when he sings it. So there you have it. Nestle's makes the very best. Nestles. So going back a little further, someone else left a link to some older commercials. Here we have 1950.
Oh, quick, get Nestle's quick. It makes no taste like a million. On the atom. Get Nestle's quick. It makes no taste. Oh, quick, get Nestle's quick. It makes no taste like a million. On the atom. The fight's over. Really, who won? No. Nestles, Nestle's makes the very best. Chocolate.
There we go. Nestles. Nestle's. All right, so that's pretty much what I had to offer for the Nestle's. And so I had something that came across. Actually, Diane from England pointed this out to me because, and it took me a while to remember how it went. And after doing the calculating, I found out that, do you guys remember where you were when the Challenger explosion happened? I remember the classroom I was in and the school I was in, and I remember the teacher turning off the TV when it happened because we were watching it live that day. And of course, disaster struck. Let's take a look. Turned out to be like an O-ring or something, but there was a school teacher on board. I don't know how many of you guys remember all of that stuff, but yeah, for a lot of people, it was a traumatic event. And I think for those who were in school in the 80s and you remember watching this in class, you may be able to remember what grade you in, or what grade you were in, or what school, how old you were, what school you were in, because the question that was brought to me was, did I remember it happening in 1986? And I was like, well, I have no idea, and then the more I thought about it, I was like, well, I know what grade I was in, and I know the school I was in, so I know that I tried to figure it forward from my age, and it was sort of close, but I couldn't be sure about it, if it was off or anything. It seemed like it might have been a little bit earlier than 1986. But when I took my class of year and worked backwards, it was clear to me that this could not have happened in 1986, because the school I was in when it happened, I was not in 1986. So this is really a bizarre one for me. Now, there's already some, conspiracy surrounding this whole event to begin with, because some people claim that 6 of the 7 astronauts that went up are still alive. And the official story is, I think that these 2 are twins. These 2 are twins. The other ones just have the same exact name and look exactly the same, but they're different people, I'm assuming, is the story. I don't really know. You can look into that yourself. But so there's already some bizarre stuff going on around this whole Challenger event anyway. But when I figured it out, the school I was in, the classroom I was in, the grade I was in, it would have had to have been between 84, it would have been in the 84, 85 school year for me. So at the end of the 84, 85 school year, I went to a different school in a different building, and it didn't happen at that school. It happened for me in my 84, 85 school year. So I just wanted to know, surely there's other people that remember this event. You might not be able to remember it really well, because I was actually mixing up some of the details with the Columbia event, but I do remember the classroom I was in. I remember the teacher turning it off, and that's probably why I don't remember the footage as much as I do the one that happened more recently, that actually was, it crashed on reentry. So, but as far as where I was and the classroom, the building, the school I was in, all of that I am sure about. And after figuring out the math of what grade I was in and where I was, this couldn't have happened in 1986 as they're claiming. So I just wanted you all to take the time, figure it out forwards and backwards as I did, and double check your math to see if 1986, January of 1986, if that date works out for you, because it didn't work out for me. January 28th, 1986. You know what? I didn't even check what day of the week that was, because if it's on a weekend, that would be another indicator that it for sure didn't happen on that date. So I'll look into that too. But I know 1986, I was in a completely different school in 1986. So with that, I will end this broadcast, and please comment below. Let me know what you find out with the whole Challenger, where you were. Does it work out to be 1986 for you? Because this could be a big eye-opener. Oh, I also wanted to talk about, we've got September 23rd coming up, and I had my main event video explaining the Revelation 12 prophecy and how a lot of people claim something's coming, something's happening on the 23rd. I really don't know. I know that the Revelation's prophecy is missing the element of something blocking out the sun. As some say that, the sun gets blocked out. We don't really have that element yet. So will this be a fulfilled prophecy? we'll just have to wait and see. It's only a few days out, so we'll have to be patient with that one. But what I do expect to see, and I do believe something's coming, changes are coming, and I don't believe the world's coming to an end. That's certainly not on the table for me, but I do believe big changes are coming, and whatever it is can be a catalyst to enter a new age, a better age, a loving, golden age, if you will. But I also expect, as I did the last 2 times that the sun passed over the equator back in March, when I realized the Mandela effect was real, and then all the way back last September around this same time, a lot of other people woke up. So there seems to be this repeating theme of people waking up to the Mandela effect being a real phenomenon right around this time. They're 6 months apart when the sun actually passes over the equator. And there seems to be a reversal of energies, I've heard, and different things like that. I don't really know what causes people to notice at that time. If it is sort of a reversal of energies that, makes people snap out of it or something. But a lot of people have awakened at that time. So even if we don't have Planet X block out the sun and this whole Revelation 12 prophecy happen, I do expect to have a lot more people coming to this video and other videos about the Mandela effect to check it out, to see if it's real. And I want to encourage you all to keep looking until you find something. I believe there's something for everyone. You just got to find that one thing that's changed, that for sure has changed, to sort of get you over the hump of disbelief. Because, it's hard to say something impossible happened over your memory. And it took me over a year. So I want to encourage you to keep looking, because I believe there's something for everyone, and you will find it if you are diligent about it. So with that, I will see you on the next broadcast. I appreciate you watching. Have a good one.